When conversations involving around a melee buffer starts, a few choices tends to pop up in people's mind, you know, the Kulovo, Varuna or whatever favorite pick that you believe in. But the idea is the same. The frame must be able to benefit the melee weapon itself to a great degree before considering subsumes, but that's not really the point of today's video. At the very end of a mountain climb lies its pinnacle, they said. While there are always discussions around who is the best melee-centric buffer, but it is actually quite hard to quantify. Do keep in mind that I'm not here to argue who's the best, but to define who can be considered as a pinnacle of melee-centric buffer. For example, you have warframes like Kulovo, who excels in damage capping with melees and can spread that damage to others. Or Mirage with the unique interaction around Glaives and Exodia Contagion. Or Varuna with her ability to make every melee incredible through her first and CO Heaven due to her 2. Or Volt through immense attack speed increase and Shock Trooper and so on. And just like all aforementioned frames, this also applies to Rhino himself. It is undeniable that under the correct subsume picks like both Rifle Advance and Raw together, Rhino is easily within this caliber, though the reason is much more deeper than that. It all starts with the two best melee arcanes in Warframe, Melee Influence and Melee Afflictions. Of all the melee arcanes, two choices stands out the most, Melee Influence and Melee Afflictions. The previous video of mine already explains the mechanism behind Melee Afflictions, and I'm not going to repeat them in today's video. If you want to learn more about Melee Afflictions, do please check out the video. But anyways, the thing that I want to expand upon Melee Afflictions though is the interaction with Raw. The strength of Raw is dictated by how many times it applies itself. For example, triple dip. This means that Raw applies 3 times, and if it is quadruple or penta dip, it means that Raw applies 4 times and 5 times respectively. And the most game-breaking of all, theoretically, infinite dip, with a formula that looks like this. This is famously seen on setups like Contagious Bond, Ruvox with Vulnerability Serum, Thermal Sunder, and then Melee Afflictions. To contextualize it, this is Melee Afflictions without Raw. And this is with 100% Raw active. Also, here is the necessarily complex math, if you care. Jesus, can this guy not get about math for once? Anyways, this is to prove that Melee Afflictions potential with Raw is incredibly potent, game-breakingly OP even. Still don't believe me? This is a Arca Titron with no Nara mods, nor Galvanized mods, nor even Arcane Fury for more melee damage. With just Raw and Rifle Advance and no dedicated setup, I'm already dealing tens of millions of tick damage like it's nothing. If I assume that this is the more invested build you would go, now I'm just not seeing any ticks at all. The direct damage for Melee Afflictions hit is enough to outright one-shot them. The only place you could see the ticks is when you are in a Fisher mission, where enemies are temporarily invulnerable when they are being corrupted. And you know, I will let the footage speak for itself. Shall you grasp the dark side of it, for ascension to finally be within reach? To climb past the peak, one must ready itself. To be the ultimate slog, pathing down a dark road frightens too many. Melee Influence. This arcane requires not much introduction, and I am sure that many of you knew how questionable this arcane can really be. And just like Melee Afflictions did more than twice with Raw, Melee Influence shares this same exact idea by allowing Raw to dip 3 times on the AoE itself. This makes Rhino able to not only have a much more insane benefit over a much stronger Raw, Rifle Advance being available also makes this an even stronger pick. This is a type of Rhino build that basically asks you to delete room on every hit. While it is insanely boring and what I like to call quote-unquote brain rotting, the power it had is undeniable. There's a concrete reason why I always opt for Melee Influence Rhino when trash mob clearing is demanded, just because of how effective it really was. And well, that's Melee Influence and Melee Afflictions Rhino in a nutshell. There's nothing much for me to say about this particular arcane. It's just a very powerful arcane that all of us knew it is broken, just even more broken on Rhino for a very obvious reason. For both Melee Afflictions or Melee Influence, they are both phenomenal picks on Rhino himself, and if you wanna try, feel free, I suppose. Here is the build of mine, do whatever you want. Feel free to swap between Arcane Strike and Arcane Fury to help the melee more. Shard wise, here's my setup. All you need is just one casting speed at minimum, do whatever you want with the rest. Focus School is Madurai, simply for its casting speed and power strength increase. Pet wise, it's whatever, just there to either trigger Archon Stretch and help maintain my energy consumption while provide some additional benefit. And yeah, that's all I want to say for today's video. Like the video, subscribe, do whatever you want, but I will see you all next time. Goodbye.